Welcome back to Racing Pigeon Podcast. This is our seventh episode of our season one. And as my bell goes off there from my email, get too many of those. And we had a great interview last week. In fact, took up the whole episode. Not sure if this one's going to take up the whole episode, but we have another interview today. Who are you talking with today?
Today we're going to talk to Michael Shirley. He's a fairly new flyer out of Tennessee. So we're going to kind of talk about what were his, well, first of all, we want to figure out how did he get involved in the sport? You know, where did he learn about it from? And then I want to ask him about the challenges he's had getting into the sport. And as a new flyer into the sport, I think he's going to have some invaluable information for us as far as what new flyers can expect, right, when they get into the sport.
Okay.
So it should be a fascinating conversation. We'll just see where it devolves into, as we go speaking with him. But looking forward to it. He sounds like a very interesting man, so we'll see
Okay.
where it goes.
Awesome. Well, let's hear from our sponsor, and we're looking for more sponsors as always. So if you want to jump on the bandwagon here and get your live read in, just send us an email. And we'll hear from our sponsor now. We'll jump into that interview.
All right, pigeon people, listen up. And yes, I know you're out there. If you're tired of your birds giving you that, you could have upgraded me by now, look. It's time to visit rpauctions.com. This is the hot spot where racing pigeon breeders buy, sell, and outbid each other like it's the Super Bowl of feathers. The site's easy to use, the birds are top-notch, and the bidding gets, let's just say, intense. So do your loft a favor. Head over to rpauctions.com and find a bird that won't judge you every time you walk by. All right, welcome back, everybody, to another segment of Racing Pigeon Podcast with Kevin and Wes. Wes is on a break right now, so I am happy to be joined with Michael Shirley, who is a fairly new flyer, I believe, out in Tennessee. So, Michael, thank you for joining me. So I want to start just by, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get introduced to the hobby? What club do you fly in? If you fly with a club, those sort of things. So let's turn it over to you and tell us a little bit about you and how you got into the pigeon hobby.
Hey, thanks, Kevin. First off, I want to thank you for the podcast. I've really enjoyed the first handful of episodes so far, especially as a new flyer. I'm enjoying having this content that is kind of geared right now towards new flyers. So I hope that I can provide some nuggets through our conversation today to help other new flyers, which I consider myself a new flyer. You asked about my exposure to racing pigeons, and I first learned about it in the fall of 2006 when I was watching. I know you're like, wow, that's so specific.
Yeah.
I was watching an episode of CBS Sunday Morning. It's one of my favorite shows to watch each week, and they did one of their segments was about homing pigeons, and it was about how they were used in ancient times for delivering the mail and then in war, and they talked about the Lost Battalion and Cher-Ami, and then they talked about nobody knows how it works, and they interviewed some people that flew homing pigeons and raced them, and I was like, that is so cool. And they also talked about just like how people can get involved and on all the scientific research. So it was just very interesting to me. I lived in town at the time. The next spring, my wife and I had the opportunity to purchase a farm. So we live on 30 acres in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. It's about 30 miles south of Nashville. And when we moved out here in Tennessee, if you have agricultural land, you get to save money on your taxes. So your tax bill is less if you're farming it. And the benchmarks for farming are pretty low. It's like $1,500 in income. That qualifies as a farm. So I told my wife, I said, hey, look, before we get sheep or goats or anything, I think what I want to do, you remember that episode of Sunday Morning that we watched? And she's like, yeah, about the pigeons. And she goes, yes. And I said, I want to raise white pigeons and release them at like weddings and funerals and stuff. And she's like, and I was like, I'm sure we can generate $1,500 of income in that. And she's like, whatever. so, so, so before I just jumped into white homing pigeons, I thought, you know what? Maybe I should join a racing pigeon club first to learn about what it takes to take care of pigeons.
Mm-hmm.
And so in 2007, I joined, or actually, I think it was actually 2008. It was 2008 is when I actually joined the Middle Tennessee Racing Pigeon Club, which is no longer active.
Okay.
But the gentlemen there, several of them have passed away, but they just welcomed me in with open arms. I think I was the youngest person by at least 30 years. And and they were just like, "Oh, fresh meat," you know. So they were super happy to like have myself and my son at the time. We showed up to those meetings and they helped us get started. They came out and helped me build my landing board and my
Yep.
loft, and they gave me pigeons to like
Yep.
young birds to use. And boy, I started training and I was so excited that fall.
Okay.
And I remember specifically, I had 12 birds in my young bird team. And it was the week before the first race, and I was driving them out. I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning because I was working full time, I had a kid, a
Yep.
wife.
Yep.
Uh, I
Yep.
got up at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I loaded my birds. I drove 90 miles away from home to get 60 miles
Yep.
and turned all the birds loose. Then I had to go to work. I was almost late, but I did make it. And then I was so excited to get home and see, when my
Yep.
birds got there, and none of them made it home. Not a
Oh
single one of
no.
them.
Oh no.
And eventually, a couple of days later, they started trickling in, but I think I ended up
Mhm.
with like four. And it
Yep.
was so disheartening. And
Yep.
the guys were like, "Yep, that happens sometimes." And I'm like, "Wait,
Mhm.
what?" So like they don't always come home.
Yeah.
And and honestly, I weighed the cost benefit ratio at the time of driving and doing all the training and the time that it was taken away from my young family. And we had just bought the farm.
Yep.
And I told my wife, I was like, well, I'm glad I did that. And
Ah.
because I don't think I'm set up for this.
Mhm.
And literally that pigeon loft. So I quit. Like I
Quit.
kind of fizzled out with the club.
Really?
I still went to a few more things, but I gave up.
Wow.
And they understood, like they didn't try to pressure me or tell me that I
Yeah.
was, but they were like, well, it's all about timing. It's all about timing is what they
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
Because I think I waited, I had to wait for more young birds because I didn't have any breeders. And
Gotcha.
by the time that came around for the next year, I was like, yeah, my son had started a sheep and goat project with 4-H, and so we
Okay.
ended up just focusing on that instead. And
Okay.
that pigeon loft stayed empty for 13 years.
Oh my gracious.
And my youngest son raises and shows chickens in 4-H. That's his
Uh-huh.
project. We were
Uh-huh.
getting them ready for the fair, and we bathed them, and we needed to dry them. And I said,
Yep.
well, why don't we put them in the pigeon loft? It has a wire floor. They'll
Yep.
dry out without getting dirty.
Yep.
And we put them in there, and my son goes, Dad, why don't we have pigeons? And I told him, recounted the story, and he said, well, I'd like to get some just to fly around the house. I
Oh.
said, say less, son, because I know we can do that. And I thought, well, this will be a fun project just for the two of us to mess with. And so that brings me to today. That was in 2024.
Okay.
And
Wow.
so in the summer of 2024, when we were getting his chickens ready for the shows,
Yep.
and so that summer, my wife is a veterinarian.
Yep.
One of her classmates is Dr. Rob Whaley, who
Okay.
is
Yep.
a
Yep.
board of directors with the AU. So
Yep.
he was the person that I knew, and I called
Mhm.
him and told him what we were doing, and he said, "I'll hook you up with two breeding pairs and four
Yep.
young birds."
There you go.
And so that's how we got started. And
Wow.
we still have all four of those young birds, and we have
Okay.
two of the four of the breeders that we got
Okay.
from him. And yeah, so we just last year completed our first race season with young birds,
Okay.
and
Mhm.
we had some ups and downs, like it sounds like people all across the United States did with losses,
Oh
but
yeah.
we ended
For
up
sure.
getting birds back from 200 miles, and we
Really?
were really happy about that. I got my first, for those of you watching
Excuse
online,
me.
I got my first diploma for one of my
Oh,
birds.
look at
Yep.
that. Yes, sir.
So we're excited about that, and
Yes.
um, yeah, so we have made many improvements. I'm sure we'll talk about that. Made many improvements to our operations so far,
Yeah.
and yeah, we're just really
Yeah.
excited to get going with this year.
That's super. So will you be flying old birds this spring? with those
Yes.
couple birds you have?
So I fly. I'm a member of the Nashville Racing Pigeon Club,
Okay.
and it's a AU. We're with the AU,
Okay.
and the Middle Tennessee back they were IF, and so I've learned about
Yeah.
both organizations. But this
Yeah.
organization, the Nashville Club, does fly with the AU,
Okay.
and yeah, we have our original old birds, so we will be
Yep.
flying this spring. Our club
Yep.
is doing old birds and yearlings. So
Okay. Yep.
I have six old birds
Uh-huh.
for my old bird team, and
Yep.
then we have 15 yearlings that
Oh,
so
nice.
some of those yearlings flew young birds last year. So
Okay.
some of those yearlings have been out 200 miles, and but the
Gotcha.
majority of them have not
Yep.
because we didn't have much of an operation here. We bred all through the summer last year.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
my
trying to
last
catch up.
yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to build up an old bird team for next year, basically.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Yeah.
hmm
It's hard. Now, have you put your pairs together for your young bird team for the fall?
So our club elected last year not to fly young birds this year.
Ah,
However,
okay.
at our first meeting this year, our January meeting, I proposed because I love this. It's like a lot of fun. Like my son and I
Yeah.
genuinely enjoy doing this. We had
Oh, yeah.
a great time working with our birds. My daughter she turns 15 this week. By the time
Yep.
this airs, I think she will have turned 15.
Yep.
So she needs driving time to
Oh, wow.
practice this year. So she'll be helping me with the training. And
Nice.
that's kind of cool. Like it's time in the car with my 15-year-old daughter. For those that have 15-year-old daughters, they don't really want to hang out with their dad.
Yeah.
So this is kind of forced time that she can drive and she'll help with training. So anyway,
Yeah.
at our January meeting, I proposed that we do a Young Bird Sprint series
Ah,
this fall. So
yeah, yeah.
for 2026, the Nashville Racing Pigeon Club will have an old bird and a yearling series in the
Yep.
spring, and then
Yep.
this fall we're going to have a sprint series for young birds, and
Oh,
that will be
wow.
we haven't completely it'll either be 4 or 5 races of
Okay.
100 miles,
Yep.
and we're going to do them in all four cardinal directions around the center
Oh,
point of
wow.
our membership. So everyone has a chance to be the long guy, the short
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah. Yeah.
into the wind with the wind.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I
Oh,
think
that's
that
cool.
will really help these young birds orient themselves to Middle Tennessee,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that if they get dragged some other direction, they'll be able to find their
Yes.
way back home. So
Yeah.
we'll see. But I think that having a sprint series is, I think, again, I'm a
Mhm.
new flyer, but it
Yep.
makes sense to me that
Yeah.
that would be easier to complete a series than
Yes.
getting young birds out 350 miles.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
hoping everybody in the club seemed really excited about that. It was like a new idea. I
Oh,
haven't
that's
found
good.
anybody else in my research that's doing that. I'm sure there
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of
Interesting.
what's going on.
Wow.
With that being said, I wasn't planning on preparing this early, but I did
Uh-huh.
go ahead and I have
Okay.
my breeders together. We're sitting on eggs now for
Okay.
I think we're about 14 days in on eggs for
Oh,
some of
wait.
our pairs. So
About four
it
more days to
this
go.
I know, man. It's like this is the most exciting time for me. Like I'm so excited
I
about this
know.
breeding season because they're all my pairs all set on eggs within a week of each other.
Oh, nice.
And so I'm like, oh
Nice.
man, like I'm actually going to have round one, and we
Yep.
are doing this year. We are going to send out to some one lofts. We did send out
Okay.
some birds to one lofts last year,
Okay.
and so already know my pairs that I'm going to send babies off to different one lofts,
Uh-huh. Yep.
and then I'm ready for this. The rest of them are all going for my sprint series birds this fall, and I'm like
Yeah.
really excited about it. Yeah.
That's awesome. What loft do you fly? What's your loft name? Is it the Boroview Farms?
Burrow View Farm.
Boroview
So,
Farms. Okay.
yep, at the
So if
back
you're
of our
looking at the one
farm,
loft results, look for
Burrow View Farm. Yeah,
look
that's
for
right.
Michael.
Yeah, that's right. So I'm really excited. One of the birds we sent 3 birds to the California Pigeon Derby this year. It was
Oh,
their
yes.
inaugural season. We
Yep.
had a bird. One of our 3 birds finished the series,
Oh,
so
wow.
that's pretty impressive.
That was a
She
tough.
That
And I know
was wow. Yeah,
they auctioned some of the birds off on my site, right? So
that's right.
it was a
I
super hard series, and the auction was a super hard auction for if you were trying to win one.
yeah, I was so nervous because I did bid. I like researched all the birds that
Oh, yeah.
finished and that were going to be in the auction. I
Yeah.
am bringing my bird back. I thought about leaving Tom. gives the option of leaving the birds, and he'll fly them with his club with old birds. And I really
Right.
thought about just doing that
Yep.
because I don't like prisoner birds. I like for the birds
Yeah.
to be able to fly.
Yeah. Right.
However, I'm going to send birds back to the California Derby this year, and
Yep.
I have a finisher, which I mean,
Yep.
not many birds finish that race series.
No.
And so
No, they did not.
I am bringing my bird back, and I bought two
Yeah.
birds in the auction, and
Okay.
I feel like I got the best deal, like
Oh
value
boy.
wise. I feel like I got the best of anybody.
Oh
So
boy.
I'm bringing those three birds back. I'm gonna DNA sex them, like while I have them in quarantine. I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna DNA sex them.
Mhm.
I'm gonna pair them up, and I'm gonna send birds back to that race. Like my son and I already talked about it. So
Gotcha.
we know we already have names picked out. My daughter's helping name all the birds this
Oh
year. So
gosh. Oh
yeah.
boy.
So I know a lot of people don't name their birds. They think it's bad luck, but we think it's
Nope.
good. We think it's good
Yeah.
luck.
I don't name mine. But
Yeah.
they
So
still get lost. So maybe I should
that's
start
right.
naming them.
You need to name them, baby. So
Maybe I'm doing it wrong.
this year, all of our birds are going to have a musical theater theme.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah,
Nice. I love
so
it. I
so
love it.
yeah. So
Well, I'm gonna send some out there too to Tom's race. So we'll be
that's right.
competing against each other,
And it
Michael.
is
But
I think I know that you've talked about this on the podcast already. I love that one loft races exist because if
mhm.
they had existed back in the day when I first got started, I think I would have never stopped raising birds.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
At that time of my life as a 26-year-old, I just I literally did not have the time or disposable income to invest in training.
And a lot of people
But
don't.
I did have time and a desire
Hmm.
to do the breeding.
Yeah.
One of
Yeah.
my favorite classes in college was a genetics class.
Oh yeah.
I'm an animal science major,
We
and
got you.
my animal genetics class was one of my favorite classes because we had the simulation that we
Mm.
did. And it was called the cow game. That was pretty simple DOS
Okay.
program,
Yeah.
but you had to use EPDs, which is the expected progeny differences of bulls. So it was like breeding
Okay.
bulls. Like you had to go through and select all the bulls, and then you bred them to your cows, and then it spit out the data, and you had to. I loved it, and like looking at pigeon racing and stuff, like you can handle the
Oh,
birds and look at all the different signs and all
I
that, and you
know.
can analyze the pedigrees and make your breeding, like you can make informed breeding decisions. But if it
Yep.
was easy and if it was proven, we'd all have the champions, right? So
Absolutely.
there's still a lot
Yep.
of luck in it, but it's still fun to dream and think about, oh, if I put this cock with this hen, the
I
babies ought to be
know.
able to do this over
I
here, and
know. I
it's just
know. It's
fun. Yeah.
it's so much fun. And then like me, I've got all different colors out there. So
I
it's
was going to
like,
say you
oh,
throw in the colors
so
on top of that.
so
Yeah.
besides the flying, I also have to think about the colors
Yep.
because I love colors, but I like colors that fly. I mean, you don't
Right.
want colors that don't
They're
fly.
racing pigeons.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
but I love breeding colors, and I've been lucky enough to breed, especially my grizzles have been flying really, really well. So I'm working on a black line, solid blacks,
Yep.
that I'm trying to build them up. I'm thinking this year we're going to get quite a bit of improvement. So I've been cursed with blackbirds. I've had blackbirds in the past.
Uh-huh.
They have never finished the race series. They
Okay.
always get lost. I'm like, well, I just am not supposed to have blackbirds. But I had two, a cockbird and a hen, that finished the whole series, young birds this fall. Flew clear out. I'm long end, so they flew 360 miles on their last race.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, now we've at least got something. Now I'm going to fly them in old birds, but I'm at least got something now that can finish. So I'm starting to build that up, but it's going to take years.
All right.
It's going to
We
take
should call
years.
it right now. We're each going to send one blackbird to the California Pigeon Derby, right?
Actually,
Let's do
I
it.
actually might do that because the pair. So the bird that bred my club champion bird from this young bird, I was club champion. I had the number one club champion bird. The father is solid black. And I have two babies in the first round. They're both solid black.
Yep. I
Now
feel like
they're not,
so people ask me, they're like, why do people do this? I'm like, well, it's fun. And they're like, is there gambling? I'm like,
oh,
there's
well,
competition. So
yeah.
we need to come up with a wager. Like I'll enter a blackbird, you enter a blackbird. We'll have a little side.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Sounds
yeah.
good, Michael.
You
Well,
send me
let's
a
do
hat
it.
if my bird wins, and I'll send
There
you
we
something
go. Exactly.
from
Yeah,
the
you
vet
get one
office.
of these if your
Yeah.
bird wins. Yeah.
That's right.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah.
Well, it is, and I mean, I think Man, I love having you on as a guest because I think that people can hear it in your voice how exciting this hobby is and how once you get hooked on it, I mean, I don't know about you, but I go to sleep thinking about the pigeons.
Yeah, right.
I wake up in the morning thinking about the pigeons. I'm at work during the day, just waiting to get home to see like what the pigeons are like. It becomes almost too much, right? Like
Right.
it really becomes your life. And I don't want to scare people. It doesn't have to be that way,
No, no,
but
no, but
I think it just naturally becomes that way because it is so challenging. It is just so addicting. And I love that you can just hear it in your voice, Michael. I love it.
well,
So,
I am really blessed for a couple of reasons. When I just when my son said, "Can we get some pigeons?" I had Dr. Whaley that I could just reach out to immediately. He was
yeah,
super supportive. And
yeah,
then he said, "You need to find a local club." And
yes,
when I reached out to the Nashville Racing Pigeon Club, they were super, super nice
yep,
and accommodating and invited me
yep,
to the first meeting. They made my son and I feel very welcome.
yeah,
And then they immediately were like hooked me up with people that were close by my house.
yep,
And Lee Thorpe,
yep,
if his bird won the 350 Cuevas Classic,
yep,
he had the first place bird. He just
yep.
lives a few miles down the road from me, and
Oh,
he invited me out to his house when we first got started. Showed me around his loft. He
yep,
came out to my house and made some
yep,
suggestions for me.
yep.
And then we all end up being pigeon collectors, right?
Yes,
And we all have a capacity if we want to stay married. And
yes.
so he he uh he was kind enough to give me some breeders, and then I had a raccoon get in and took out some of those, and I called him. It was like one of
Yep,
the hardest calls I had to make. I'm like,
yes.
and he's like, man, it happens. And
It does.
other people in the club stepped up and they're like, hey, I was like, I need four cockbirds. And it was like
Yeah,
instantly. And
instantly.
so,
Yep.
and then, and then also so the club itself has been very supportive, and then within the club I've
Hmm.
gravitated towards some other people that are just also
Hmm.
newer or new and
Hmm.
excited, and we have like our own little group chat, and we're
Yep.
doing exactly what you talked about. Like
Yes.
it's just like, oh, I just bought this bird and I'm going to pair it with this one, and
Yep.
we the three of us all got benzene clocks, so
Yep.
most of the people in the club use the Unicon,
Okay.
but so we were the benzene boys, and we're trying to figure this out, you know. So we were learning through our systems and helping each other
Yep.
out as we got that, but.
Yep.
When their birds beat mine, I gave them high fives and like
Yes.
congratulations, and I think that the Nashville Club is that way, and that
Yeah.
um, there's some old guys that maybe you have to work on. They want to before they share any of their secrets, they
Yep.
want to make sure you're serious.
Yep.
But everybody's been
Yep.
very supportive of one another,
Yep.
and so I'm really lucky to be in a club
Yeah.
that is supportive and welcoming of new people.
Yeah. And we've talked about that on this podcast that that is the number one thing that a new flyer should do is find the local club.
Right.
Chances are they're going to be your best resource. If you can't, well, that's why you have this podcast. But
That's right.
if you can, a local club is always going to be the best. So so Michael, what has been your biggest couple challenges as a new flyer? Maybe you've talked or alluded to the fact that you've had a raccoon issue. So
Yep.
maybe maybe getting the loft correct. What about like feeding and
Mm.
medicating, training? What's been the challenging aspects of the sport that you have found?
Well, the most challenging thing is that if you ask 10 fanciers about any one topic, you'll get 15 different answers. And so that's been the most challenging is trying to find what philosophy do I want to prescribe to when it comes to, and then name it, whether it be feeding or vaccinating or medicating
Yep.
or supplements
Yep.
or training or loft design.
Yes.
Every single one of those, like I said, if you ask, you know, 10 people, you'll get 15 answers.
That's
So
right.
that's been the most challenging because there's so much information out there,
Hmm.
and some of it is based in science and some of it is
Hmm.
based in personal opinion and
Yep.
some anecdotal.
Yep.
As a scientist myself, I'm a teacher by training, and then my wife and I own a veterinary hospital.
Yep.
So I come at it with a different perspective
Mhm.
of show me the research.
Yeah.
And now, but that only takes you so far. Like some of it, like there, like old wives' tales
Mm-hmm.
are there for a reason
Mm-hmm.
because there was some truth to that, right?
At
So you've
some
got to
point.
figure out at some point there was some
Yeah.
truth to that. So you've got to figure it out. Like, what are you going to go for? As
Mm-hmm.
a new flyer, you have to pick something and
Mm-hmm.
stick with it for at least a few years to decide
Mm-hmm.
whether you were winning because of it or in spite of it.
Exactly.
And you have to
Yes.
decide, okay, am I going to try to do this other thing? For example, I'll just throw my business out there because
Mm-hmm.
maybe somebody else is out there trying this too.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to talk to you in more detail. I'm feeding the pellets, like the pigeon pellets, the green and gold pigeon
Yeah.
pellets.
Maserati or whatever.
Yep, the Missouri.
Yep.
I know Missouri to be a great feed company. I know that used to be made by Purina, and now it's
Yeah.
made by Missouri. This isn't a commercial. I'm not sponsored by them, but the
No,
reason
neither are
I
we.
yeah
But if they
the
want to
not
sponsor us,
yet. That's right.
contact me.
Not yet. But the reason that I picked feeding the pellets to my breeders is because it's easy. And
Mhm.
I am still married. I do still have young kids, and I am running a business, and I am teaching.
Yep.
So I got a lot of things going, and I serve like in local like civic organizations. So I am extremely busy. I love pigeon flying, but it has
Yep.
to be easy for me to participate.
Yep.
Will I win everything? I don't know. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Time will tell. But
Mhm.
for my breeders, it's all everybody's getting pellets, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's a complete feed and all that. I do choose to vaccinate. Again, we own a veterinary hospital. I believe in
Yep.
vaccinations.
Yep.
I know that scientifically they work.
Yep.
Um, but it's been hard to find vaccinations that have a lot of peer-reviewed research on it
Yeah.
too. So there's
Very
some
much so.
there's some challenges there, but I am choosing to vaccinate.
Yeah.
Um, when it comes to challenges, that those are a couple there. Now we mentioned loft design. I live on a farm.
Mm-hmm.
I put my pigeon loft in an old barn that was built in the 1920s. So
Oh,
it
wow.
looks like a barn.
Oh,
So
wow.
imagine I have a loft inside a barn.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and my son raises chickens. So wherever you have chickens, you're going to have rats. So rats are a problem. We catch rats every night in our traps, and
Yeah.
we've changed up our feeding program a little bit with the
Yep.
chickens to help cut
Yep.
down on rats, but they live there. And the
Yeah.
pigeons drop food and the rats eat that too. So,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
have a rat problem. But I mean
Well,
that's
admitting
just
you
a
have a
problem.
problem is the first step.
Yep, that's right. And so last year, I mentioned the raccoons. We had raccoon problem. We don't have the raccoon problem anymore, if you get what
Ah,
I mean. So
yep, yep, yep,
the
yep. They relocated to a new neighborhood, right?
possums show up and skunks show up. Everything shows up.
Yeah.
Um, and so that's been a problem. And then one night I went out to my breeder loft and there was a great horned owl in my
What?
breeder loft, and it scared me as much as it scared the owl.
Oh
But
my.
he had actually flown through because I have lights on in my breeder loft.
Yeah.
The lights were on, and I guess the pigeons were all sitting where he could see them through the window,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he
yeah.
literally flew through the double pane window and smashed through it and ate one of my birds. And then he was
What?
like, yeah, but and then my breeders, they didn't fly
Oh,
out because it was dark outside, so they didn't
yeah.
realize that the window was
Luckily.
open.
Yeah.
So that was scary. So I made some changes
Oh
there.
my
So I'm like, oh,
goodness.
even if you have windows, you still need to put wire up on them. So
Yes.
it's
That's a
but
good tip, actually. That's a
yeah,
very good tip. Yeah.
uh, I thought, well, surely a double pane window is enough, but at any rate, it was
Nope.
not to a great horned owl. But
No.
and then in my
Oh
breeder
my
loft this year, I
God.
raised the floor up, so I have
Mhm.
chickens underneath. My
Oh, okay.
son's cull chickens live underneath the pigeon breeder loft,
Yeah.
so they spill food and the chickens eat it,
Yep.
which I hope cuts down on rats. It
Yes.
certainly has made cleaning up easier. So,
Yeah. For sure.
I think
For
for
sure.
new flyers, especially if you don't have like you're like this sounds interesting,
Hmm.
but I don't have a lot of time. You don't have to fly with the club, but you should still
Hmm.
join a club. Uh,
Yes.
you need to make your operation work for you and work for your lifestyle. And maybe one day I'll change up the way I do everything,
Hmm.
because I
Hmm.
have more time. But
Hmm.
I've tried to make my feeding process easier. I've tried to make my cleaning process easy, my breeding process, the
Yeah.
training process. And I also, I think that sometimes more pigeons can be, or sometimes, as they say, less is more, right?
Yeah.
So I think for
Yeah.
me, I want to have a smaller team and just spend more time with them so I can be aware
Yeah.
of any changes that are going on with them versus having a
Yeah,
really large scale operation. And
exactly.
so
Exactly.
I think, yeah, I don't know if that gives you a good
Yeah,
insight on a
I
new
think it
person's
does. I
problems
think
or
it
not, but
does.
one
That's
day
great.
one day I know I'm not going to live at this house forever.
Yeah.
So when we retire, I know exactly where I'm moving to,
Yeah.
and I know that I will have a purpose-built pigeon
Uh-huh.
loft, and I will
Uh-huh.
that alone will cut down on some of my
Oh,
problems.
for sure.
Yep. And I
Absolutely.
will
Yeah.
say this. Oh,
Yeah.
if for new flyers, chicken wire is designed to keep things in,
Yeah.
and
Not
hardware
out.
cloth is designed to keep things out.
That's
So,
right.
chicken wire won't stop much of anything from getting into your pigeons, including raccoons. They will use their hands and peel that back like a can opener.
Yes.
But they have not
Yes.
gotten through, like, I went to a local pallet mill and they just gave me their scraps, and I
Yeah.
just free,
Oh,
didn't
wow.
cost me anything. And I
Yeah.
reinforced our whole loft with that. It looks great. And we used hardware
Nice.
cloth and went over the
Yes.
chicken wire. I didn't even take the chicken wire down. I
Yeah.
just
No
reinforced
point.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
The rat problem cut down. It's not out,
Yeah.
but I haven't lost any more, knock on wood, to any
Interesting.
other predators. Yep.
Interesting. Oh, that's super. Well, that sounds great. I think we'll wrap up this segment right now, and we'll have a word from our sponsors, and then Mike, will you come back and join us for a little bit more?
Let's do it. Let's keep
All right,
talking.
let's do it. Hang on one second, guys. We will be right back after this. All right, pigeon people, listen up. And yes, I know you're out there. If you're tired of your birds giving you that, you could have upgraded me by now, look. It's time to visit rpauctions.com. This is the hot spot where racing pigeon breeders buy, sell, and outbid each other like it's the Super Bowl of feathers. The site's easy to use, the birds are top notch, and the bidding gets, let's just say, intense. So do your loft a favor. Head over to rpauctions.com and find a bird that won't judge you every time you walk by. All right, welcome back. All right, we're here again with Michael Shirley from Tennessee, Borough View Farms, and he was talking with us about some challenges he faced as a new flyer. So, what do you think, Michael, is the most rewarding aspect of the hobby? Is it the time with your family? Is it just what is it? What draws you in?
For me, it's a combination of the time with my kids, because we're doing this together. And then I just I enjoy the science of it all, like
Mm,
the
yep.
genetics and then the testing of the genetics. Like I like club
Hmm.
flying and the
Hmm.
camaraderie and the meetings and the ribbing of each other. And then I enjoy the one
Yeah.
lofts where it's like, okay, I think I have great birds. I'm going to send
Yeah.
them out somewhere and have they're all under the same management practices. Let's
Yep.
see if my genetics are any better. And then
That's right.
wondering the age old, well, maybe not age old, but at least a recent discussion, the horses for courses, like birds for
Oh
courses,
yeah.
like are if is a
Yep.
bird that I'm going to send to the California Pigeon Derby, would it also do well at the Bama Buckeye, one
Yeah. Yeah.
loft race
Yeah.
or whatever, or name one, Louisiana Perch or whatever, Florida
Yep.
Pigeon
Yep.
Derby, name them all, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly. That's right. Yeah. Yeah,
so
exactly.
do certain birds do well because of the way they look or in spite of the way they look and handle? Like,
Yeah,
I just don't know that we
exactly.
have enough data to know that for sure yet, but it's fun to try to find it out.
No, we definitely don't. But I do think I do subscribe to the school of horses for courses. I
Hmm.
mean, I'm good friends with Thomas Baldwin, not to throw names around, but and he definitely prescribes to that. I mean, he has certain lines of birds that fly well in Florida,
Hmm.
or that fly well at the Crooked River. But then he has a whole different line of birds that he'll send to the Hoosier or, the
Right.
different places.
Uh, in any performance animal that we have, there are animals that are bred for certain tasks. So
Mhm.
the difference between a quarter horse and a thoroughbred
Mhm.
is they both are race horses, but
Yep.
one's for the quarter mile and one's for, the long two up to a 2 mile race,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
With
Yep.
dogs, my daughter, her sport was dog agility. Well, a
Okay.
border collie is going to do a lot better than a dachshund. It's just
Yes.
because of the way that they're mentally predisposed to act certain ways, but
Yeah.
also their physical bodies
Physical.
allow
Yep.
them to move differently around an agility course.
That's right.
So it makes total sense to me that there are certain birds that do better at certain courses. And
Yeah.
so I think for a new flyer, if you are going to do one lofts, I have to basically pick one and say, this is what I'm going after,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then I might
Yeah.
decide to sponsor birds from other breeders to send to other races that I want to be
Mhm.
connected to.
Yep.
Um, but I'm like, hey, for me personally, the reason I chose the California Pigeon Derby was because it was the most affordable option for me to test out three birds.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
so that is exactly why I sent my birds down there.
Yep.
Next year or this year, I don't know enough about my birds to feel good about spending
Mhm.
hundreds of dollars,
Oh yeah.
or closer to $1,000 than $0, right?
Yeah.
To enter them in one loft race. That would not be good financial stewardship of me and
No.
my limited funds.
Yeah.
So there are people that I have found. James Robertson from Robertson Racing
Yeah.
Pigeons. I found
Mhm.
his account on YouTube. I
Mhm.
was immediately drawn to the way that he talked about his birds and the way that he makes his breeding decisions based on science and statistics. And
Yep.
I'm like, hey, man, that I like the way he's thinking. And so
Yep.
I've kind of prescribed to that. So,
Yep.
I'm planning on, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm going to sponsor one of his birds to go down and do the Louisiana Perch. Why the
Okay.
Louisiana Perch?
Hmm.
Because I'm drawn to that race because of Kyle's constant updates and
Hmm.
connectivity with his breeders on
Hmm.
his use of social media.
Yep.
I'm on my phone all the time,
Yep.
and so I like to get a little update that there's an update about a race that I'm interested in. So
Yes.
for me personally,
Yes.
I'm willing to be a part of that race with a bird that's not even mine. And then at the
Yeah.
end, if it makes it through, the bird is mine. It comes
The
back to
bird
my
is
house, which
yours.
is
Yeah,
kind of
exactly,
cool.
right?
So then I'm only bringing back birds to my house that have flown. I'm
Yeah.
not,
Yeah.
as I mentioned earlier, I don't like having prisoner birds
Yep.
or stock birds, if you want to be
Yeah.
that way about it. But
Yeah.
we call them what they are. They can't go out and fly, and the
That's right.
birds are bred to fly. And so eventually I want all my birds to be able to fly around my house, but
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. I've got to start somewhere.
Yep.
And so I'm prescribing to, if I'm going to have it in my breeder loft, it's going to have flown a race
Yeah.
and done
There you
well.
go.
And
There you
I
go.
think Frank McLaughlin is another person who has a ton of content online, and I really like the way he talks about things.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, look, you're going to increase your odds of winning if you're breeding winners to
That's
winners.
right. That's
So
right. Yeah.
let's do it." So that's
They
why I
don't
think
always
like,
breed. Doesn't always work out,
yeah.
but
So that's
it's
why I didn't buy a winner from the California Pigeon Derby, but I bought a finisher, which is a winner in my book. And
that's right.
so,
Oh yeah, that race especially. Yes.
yep.
Yeah.
So
And that's
so
and I think that is honestly a good way for people to get into it, especially if they want to get into the one loft sport. You're not going to buy the birds that are winning one loft races. I mean, we don't even want to talk about the prices those birds
well,
sell
you might
for.
want to. You own an
No, I
auction
don't.
site.
I
Yeah.
don't want to. But but if you can at least buy a bird that finished, and I say at least on the day, right? If it came home on the day of the race, right? Even if it was on the second or third page, I mean that bird's got something, right?
Right.
Finished a whole one loft race, made it home on the day. Yeah, okay, it didn't win the money, but that bird's got something, and it's better than some random bird that you don't know anything about.
Well, and you have to buy what you can afford, right?
That's
Like,
right.
so I heard it on a podcast. I don't
Amazing.
remember whose podcast it was, but
Yeah.
it was like pick a statistic and stick with it. Like, do you
Yeah.
want to buy the top 50% of
Yep.
a race sheet, or do
Yep.
you want to buy the top 20% or the
Yeah.
top 5%, or do you
Yeah.
only want to buy the winners?
Yeah.
And for me, at this stage of my game, I
Yep.
went through and I identified the birds based on statistics that I was interested in. And
Hmm.
then I favorited those as soon as they went up on your site. I hit the little
Hmm.
heart and favorited them.
Hmm.
I didn't look at any of the other birds. I
Oh,
only looked
wow.
at the ones that I favorited. And
Interesting.
then I had a budget.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
I was really nervous. I think I messaged you
Mhm.
about like, is this a hard close or is this a soft close?
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and you were like, it's a soft close, which for
Yeah.
those of you that don't know what that it means that any entries in the last minute or so
10
will
minutes for
reset
mine.
10
Yeah.
minutes will
Yep.
reset the clock.
Yep.
So then at the end, I was like, okay, I was priced out of half instantly. I was priced out of half
Mhm.
the birds that I was interested in.
Yeah.
And then I was left with the other half, and I've started playing the odds. I'm like, okay, this one's finishing first, so this is what I'm going to concentrate on.
Yep.
And I bid on that until it was no longer. So then it reset the
Yeah.
clock, and so I'm sitting there. I'm
Yeah.
like, I can only afford to buy. Well, I had a budget, and it equaled two birds. So I
Yeah.
actually got I was the winner on two birds, but
Okay.
I was prepared to go all in on one bird that I had gotten it down
That
to.
you really wanted. Yeah.
Right. And it worked out that I was able to
Yeah.
get two for what my budget was. So
Nice.
set your
Ooh.
budget and then stick with it. And if it
Yeah.
doesn't work out, don't get disheartened.
That's right.
Make notes and then
Yep.
contact that breeder because chances are they'll breed a bird for you if you agree to pay the activation at a race and
That is
split the winnings with
correct.
them. And then that bird at the
That
end
is
is
correct.
yours. So
That's
that's a
right.
great way to
Yep.
increase the genetics of your loft
Yes.
if you're interested in the one loft game.
Yes. Absolutely.
Now,
I think
if you're
that's great.
interested in club flying, I do think it's important to go and talk to the people in your club that are winning and talk
Yes.
to them.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Definitely.
and chances are they may give you some of their old breeders, but you
Yep.
at least know that you're not starting from bridge pigeons or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can find club race birds on auction sites as well or
Mhm.
online for sale. And if you're wanting to club race, hey, a bird that's done well in a club, even if it's not a club near you, you know, there's a lot of people that subscribe to the saying that, a good bird is a good bird.
Right.
It doesn't matter that it was good in New York. It's still going to be good in Florida. I mean, a bird is a bird. So, I've bought quite a few birds out of Florida, and I don't race in Florida. But I had the top 19 champion birds in my club this year.
Yep.
And these are birds I bought from all over the country, out west, Utah, Florida, and they flew well in South Carolina. So if you find a good bird, it's going to fly it's going to be a good bird.
And then it's up to you for management, right? So
Oh,
if you're,
absolutely. Yeah.
I would talk to my students. I'm an agriculture teacher, so
Yep.
teach animal science and things at the
Yep.
high school level. And we talk about genotype and phenotype, right? Like
Yep.
what is the genetic makeup of something, and then what does something look like?
Yeah.
And then you have to decide, does it look that way because of its genetics or because of its husbandry?
Yeah.
And you can, if you have a max, if the genetics limit something to five, you're never going to get
Yep.
it to six, no matter how great you take care of it.
Hmm.
But I might buy a level 10 genetic bird, which is
Uh-huh.
awesome. But
Uh-huh.
because I am new and I'm going to make all these mistakes, I only ever get it up to a seven. But
Yeah.
with the right handler, it would have made a
Exactly.
10. So
Exactly.
one of the things that I'm doing this year is in some neighboring clubs
Mhm.
within an hour and a half drive of where I live,
Yep.
I bought special band races from them.
Yep.
So I'm going to be sending five birds to the Overton County Racing Pigeon Club,
Yep.
and then
Yep.
five birds to Chattanooga Racing Pigeon Club, and then
Gotcha.
they're going to distribute them to their handlers, and they're
Yep.
going to be in that special race. So for
Yep.
me, those bands were only $25 each, way
Exactly.
cheaper than a one loft race.
Exactly.
And then
Yes.
it's just increasing the ability and speed at which I can test my breeders to see how those babies perform.
Yep. That's
So,
exactly right.
so that's kind of my plan. Again, just running the statistics.
Yep. Yep. I'll be in the buddy band race too. I've got four out there. So
Excellent. Excellent.
I'll be sending them in about 2.5 weeks. They'll be
Yeah,
going
there you
out.
go.
So yeah, we'll be in that one together too.
Excellent.
And oddly enough, Mike, one of them is black.
Nice.
So, and I banded it with a buddy band, so I didn't know it was going to be
That's
black.
right. That's right.
And
Well,
I told Ken, I said, Ken, you got a black one coming. He's like, oh my gosh, okay.
yeah. So I need to tell him. I'll tell Ken that to send my Blackbird to the same loft, put it
Oh,
in the
good.
same loft as yours. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we'll
I don't know
see.
where mine's going, but
Yeah, yeah. So,
oh my goodness,
and
that's
I don't care.
hilarious.
Like they were asking me, and I know people play the game. They look at all the handlers on those, even those buddy band
Yeah.
races.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I want to be on this, and I just said, man, just put them wherever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm too new to really worry about the end. I
Yeah.
just like just put them
Yeah.
somewhere.
Just put them somewhere.
I'll be able to learn what I need to learn, no matter what loft they're in.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. And I have found that you can just call, I mean, once you start to know people in the hobby, pigeon people love to talk and they love to help each other out. And I mean, like if somebody called me and was like, "Hey, I'm a new flyer and I've got these two young birds and I don't have enough for a whole team. Can I send them to you and have you fly them in your club and just see how they do?" I
Yep.
would do that. If you
Yeah.
pay to ship them to me, I'll fly them in the club here and I'll do that for you. And if they do well at the end of the year, you pay and I'll ship them back to you. So there's all kinds of ways that people can figure out what you've got. If you don't want to send them to a one loft, don't. It's very expensive. There's other ways. And
Yep.
so I think that's good to
Yeah,
know.
think people should just think outside of the box. And this popped into my head just now, and I want to say it. But one of the other challenges is a timing system. Um, I super expensive,
Yeah.
and for me,
Yeah.
and my son, we wanted to get instant results. We wanted to see because
Yeah.
I never knew when I was training my birds who made it home first
Yeah.
because I didn't have a clock
Yeah.
and I didn't have a camera in my barn.
Yeah.
So I never knew until we
You
were
had no
able to
idea.
get until we got a
Benzing
clock.
live.
Yep, the benzing live, and so I get an alert on my phone, which makes it
Yep.
fun for my son and myself as
Yep.
we'll release the birds and then we go about our day
Yep.
and we get alerts as to when they're coming home.
Yep.
But to that point, the AU just announced a partnership with Benzing, and so new flyers get a free clock to use.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
I
So,
missed that. Oh my
yep,
goodness.
it just they just announced it at
Wow.
their board meeting recently,
Oh
and
wow.
so people should check that out. If you're a club,
Definitely.
if you're
Yeah.
flying with the AU club, check out
Yes.
that your club may not even know about that partnership yet.
Yeah.
So
I
reach
didn't
out
know
to the
about it.
AU
So
home office and
interesting.
you get to borrow basically you get to borrow the club for a year or two. I don't know all the details. I haven't read it. And then if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
decide to buy it, I think you can at a discounted rate maybe. Um,
Gotcha.
but anyway, it's just a way
That's
Benzing
super.
knows like that's one of the biggest hurdles
Oh
is
yeah.
making it's over $1,000 to get a timing system,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like especially if you get all the bells and whistles. And
Yep.
I
Yep.
only got the basic pad, so I'm like, oh my gosh, I had to build
Uh,
like a special system to force the birds to go over it. And so I'm like,
yeah.
okay, well this year I know what I'm gonna ask for my
Yeah.
birthday
Because
from the
the bigger
family.
pads are like $500
Yeah, they're
just for
really.
the
I was like,
antenna.
yeah, I was like,
Oh,
holy
oh my
crap!
gracious. I know.
So
I
those
know.
types of things are neat and
Yeah.
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 So uh, I just really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. I'm helping
It
two of the
is.
local high schools start their lofts at the schools with the
Oh, I
FFA
saw
program.
that. I saw that in the yearbook. Yeah,
Yeah,
that is absolutely phenomenal what y'all are doing out there. Oh
yeah.
my gracious.
Ronnie Shoemaker from down in Mississippi. The AU told me to give him a call to talk to him about this idea I had, and
Uh-huh.
Ronnie's been doing it for years with his before when he was a teacher
Yes.
using pigeons at the school to help kids learn and improve
Yeah.
their math scores and even their
Oh
just
yeah.
attendance score
Yeah.
policies and stuff.
Yeah.
And so with my tie-ins with our local FFA programs in the county, we have
Yep.
two schools that have birds now, and they are going to
Okay.
be doing a head-to-head competition with their birds leading
Yeah.
up to the instead of the Kentucky Derby, they're going to be having the Pigeon Derby here
Okay.
in our county. So
Oh no way.
that Friday, we'll release the birds that morning. The kids are all going to dress up in their derby hats and stuff and have
Oh
a
my.
party. And
That is
because
that. Oh,
Benzing
super.
sponsored the schools, so both schools have a Benzing timing system.
No.
Yeah, so they will know who wins instantly, and the
Wow.
kids will be watching for those results. And then our
Oh,
goal is to have those out. Those races will be 60 miles, which is the minimum for AU
yeah.
to recognize them.
Yep.
So those kids are going to have their birds in the national database for a race. So
Oh my God.
really cool way to tie in all of that education with the students, and hopefully, as those students graduate, they will
Uh-huh.
one day return to the
Yeah.
sport as
Yeah.
fanciers themselves.
Yeah, exactly. After they finish their education.
That's right. That's right.
I wish my son was interested. He's 15, but he doesn't care for the birds. He's
Yeah.
video
Well,
games is
I
all he
bet when he
wants
gets
to
out.
do.
So I told my daughter, I said, Mahala, I said, when you actually get your license, you could have a business where you train people's birds for them.
Oh, for
So
real, right?
you just go around on Friday night and pick
Yep.
everybody's birds
Pick
up,
everybody's birds up.
and then take them out and release them on Saturday morning. I said, people will
Yep.
pay you for that because
Oh yeah.
they won't. I mean, I would do that. They have them
Yeah.
in Europe. They have the training trucks, right?
Yep.
And so the guy just
Yep.
drives around, picks up people's birds. I said, people
Yep.
will do that. She's like, really? I was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
maybe, hey, if he's not interested in birds, maybe he's interested in money, and then
Oh,
he'll
he's interested in
be,
money for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure. Oh my gracious. That is hilarious. Well, that's super. Well, Michael, I think we'll wrap it up here, but we'll have to have you back in future episodes to see if your science pays off and if you manage to
Okay.
beat me. Because I'll be very honest, I'm a social scientist, I'm an economist, but so when it comes to the birds, I'm more of a feel. than a science. I'm more of a gut, like,
Yeah.
I think this bird and this bird, gonna, now, okay, so there's a little bit of science, I guess, right, based on past results and things like that. But I'm not a scientist like you, where I'm not like, oh, this keel bone is, 3 centimeters too short, and so I need to
Hmm.
pair. Yeah, I'm not that technical. But I'll be very curious to see how you do in the future. And I think you'll be very
Me too.
successful. I have a feeling you will be.
Yes.
I have a feeling
I
you're
don't,
probably going to beat me this year, and so
I don't know.
we'll have
Maybe
to
my feeding
revisit that.
program's all messed up. I
I
start off the
think
babies wrong, and there's no
our
telling.
viewers are going to want to know. So I think we're going to have you back after the Pigeon Derby next year and
Okay, let's do it.
see who wins the bet, Michael.
I like it. Well,
Oh my
I
goodness.
think by the time this will be released before. I just want to give a shout out to the Chattanooga Racing Pigeon Club. They're having their winter meetup, which is
Uh-huh.
coming up in 2026. I'm going to tell you the date wrong, so I'm going to look at my phone. It is on March the 21st, March
Okay.
21st of 2026, down in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They're having a winter warm up, is what they call it, and
Okay.
they have a guest speaker and a bird auction. Dr. Whaley, who I mentioned earlier, he's going to be their guest speaker. At least that's
Oh,
who
cool.
they've announced right now. And
Okay.
then for in Nashville, the Nashville Racing Pigeon Club, our summer meetup is on Saturday, June the 6th, and that's in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We also will have a guest speaker and a bird auction as well, so a young bird
Very,
auction. And
very
then
nice.
if people want to help support those FFA programs, please reach out to me, and you can help by sponsoring with money or birds or any kind. You can send them waters, and I mean anything
Wow.
that you need to raise pigeons. Those schools need help with, so
Oh,
they're
wow.
just getting started as well. So.
That's super.
Um,
And will you throw us an email or social media handle for you? How can they get a hold of you?
they can reach out to me at Burrowview Farm, which is B as in Bravo, BOROVIEW FARM @gmail.com. And I would love to connect with anybody, especially if you're. If, I was still nervous about racing with the pellets, but I'm thinking I'm going to do it at least for this year, just to try it out and see. I know, there's a lot, but if anybody's doing it, let me know if I'm maybe a terrible mistake. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. So, um,
We'll
but
have you back. We'll have to see
yeah,
how
that's
that works out
right.
for you.
Let me know.
Well,
Somebody's got to be first, right? I mean,
well,
there may be.
I'm sure someone has tried it. In fact, I'm pretty sure I remember reading about someone trying a
I
long
read an
time ago.
article where somebody said they tried it, and it was just basically when you read it, you could tell that they didn't think it was going to work from the beginning because of the
Mm.
way that they talked about it. But
Yeah.
anyway, if I may have, maybe I'll have the schools. I told the schools like anyway, I could talk about this for all sorts, but I'll let you know next time we talk. We'll
Yeah.
find out, did
Let's
I or did I not race with pellets, and did it work?
and did it
Tune
work.
in
All
next
right.
time.
All right. We're gonna leave everybody with that cliffhanger.
That's right.
Michael. That's super. Michael, it has been a pleasure, man. It's been a blast having you on. I'm so thankful for you, and I'm glad you're in the sport. I'm glad you came back to the sport after 13 years out of having
Yeah.
pigeons. Thank your son for us for getting you back in the sport. And
Yeah.
we're so glad you're in the sport, and appreciate the support for the podcast and for my auction site as
Yeah,
well.
man.
RPAauctions.com. If you're looking for your next bird, check there first. All right.
That's right. There's some
All
good
right.
ones out there.
There are for sure. All right. Well, Mike, again, appreciate it.
Yes,
Have
sir.
a great breeding season. Have a great training season. Great old bird season, and we'll chat with you at the end of the year and see how things are going.
May our birds all stay protected from the hawks. Good luck,
Oh,
everybody.
please.
Yes.
All right. Bye bye, Mike.
See
Thank
ya.
you again.